What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Pump Podcast. In today's episode, we've moved away from cars, we've moved away from gaming, we're now in the medical industry. And a lot of questions about the medical field, how the status of the medical facilities are in Kenya. I wanted to get a better understanding of the overall industry. And beyond that, I also wanted to know whether Haldhi and turmeric powder has any magical effects, whether eating carrots actually improves your eyesight. So we're going to bust a lot of these medical myths, and we have two medical professionals with us today. I hope you enjoy the podcast. What's happening, guys?
Hello.
We're all nervous, trust me. It's like every time I do this is the first time I do this. But I'd like to welcome you formally to the Coffee Pump Podcast. As I said in the intro, we're talking about medical myths, and we're delving into a completely different spectrum over here. I'm quite foreign to a lot of the concepts. But then, as you may know, Sahil is my cousin, and he's actually the first doctor in our family. So can we give a round of applause? Clap.
Thank you.
Keep me not clapping. Yay!
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, you told me you're going to do obs gyno, which doesn't benefit me at all. So I need you to change your specialty, but we'll get to that in a bit.
We'll get to it for sure.
Why don't you guys just briefly introduce yourself? We can start with Mittal.
Yeah. So I'm Mittal Vaya. I'm working at MP Shah currently as a medical officer in the surgical department.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Sahil?
Yeah, I'm Sahil Omar. Working at MP Shah as well in the casualty department. And I'm excited to be on the Coffee Pump podcast.
You know, the thing is, it's funny seeing you here because my fondest memory of Sahil, we were at a funeral, and I remember my younger brother chasing Sahil with a slipper and going around the entire place causing a havoc. Do you remember that?
I remember. That's when I knew athletics was never for me.
Anyway, guys, listen. Doctors normally, I see them as outliers. I see them as people who are just born with that calling. So I want to understand what sort of got you into the field. Let's talk about growing up. Were you both from Nairobi, born and bred? You don't need to answer that because I obviously know. But Mittal, let's start with you. Did you start up in Nairobi?
Yeah. So I'm born in Nairobi, studied here, did my primary, high school, and even university.
Which school did you go to?
So I was in Premier Academy and then Brook House.
Okay, decent schools.
Yeah.
I know. Let's not, I already know, but for the viewers that don't know, so let's start with you, Sahil.
Well, for me, I was born in Nairobi, studied in Strathmore School my entire life.
Yeah.
And then university was University of Nairobi.
Funny thing is, he also went to Strathmore for a bit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did go to the university for some time while I was waiting for my KCSE results.
I mean, who does that? You know, like as an example, during my KCSE, after that, going to high school, I was faffing about. And you've heard stories from your uncle that this sergeant guy, he never stays in line. He decides, let me go and pursue an accounting degree while I'm waiting for my results. Have you ever heard of that? Would you guys ever do that? Exactly.
But it's fun to explore. I did explore and realize I'll never do
Bungee
it.
jumping is fun. Accounting style, that's not fun, right?
I agree with you.
Right.
I can't sit behind a desk.
Okay.
I realized it then.
So then, did you realize, both of you, from a very early age, that you wanted to sort of become medical professionals, that you wanted to go into this field? Do you have an early memory? Maybe you watched Grey's Anatomy or you watched George Clooney in ER and thought, maybe it's something I want to do. When was that first memory? Ladies first.
As always.
So actually, I don't know, there wasn't one moment in my life when I was like, okay, I'm born to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it came from my parents, as it is with Indians. I think my mom really wanted me to be a doctor.
Right.
And so all my life, I didn't think of anything else I would want to be. Obviously, that changed in med school when I was like, okay, maybe I should become a chef instead. But yeah, I pursued it.
So, as in from a very early age, it was instilled that, all right, being a doctor is something that you should possibly consider. So the seed was planted, right? Sahil, for you, let me answer for you. Okay,
Well,
but where did it come up from?
Listen, Saj, from what I remember, I wanted to be an astronaut. But
Yes.
somewhere in primary school,
Yeah.
something changed. And I don't know what it was, but I felt like, I think I should be a doctor. I used to be called a Patel in the family because I was really good with not spending money I don't know if that holds nowadays. I've started to realize that's a myth I need to debunk.
Yeah,
But
and we're going to get to medical myths. We're going to
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that.
But I learned very early that I felt it's something I wanted to do, particularly because of the impact you have to a single person every time you interact with
To
them.
be honest, I never saw you as a doctor because I've played Grand Theft Auto with you. I've seen how violent you are at running people over. So it was definitely not from the exposure we had to video games.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Right. So both of you, did you study locally? Did you do university here?
Yes, we were both at the University of Nairobi at different years, though.
So are there multiple universities where you can pursue a medical degree, or is Nairobi University the only one?
There we have 12 in Kenya, actually.
Really?
Yeah, some of them you may never have heard of. No offense, but there are people who studied in Uzima University.
I
And
beg your
don't-
pardon?
Yes, Uzima.
Where is that? Where is Uzima?
Don't ask me. I'm really bad.
To be honest, I'm not sure, but there's 12 formally, approved medical schools for medical school and dentistry in Kenya.
Okay. I know there's something in Eldoret
Yeah, that's a really good one, by the way.
for
Moi,
dentistry, right?
but even
both.
for
For
medical
For both.
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sitting from an outside perspective, if you don't mind me saying, Nairobi University doesn't have the best reputation, right? I've heard students going on strikes. There's just a lot of chaos. In fact, as you were growing up studying, there were times I would find you at home. I'm like, what's up? He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, uni's shut down.
Or working with your dad.
Exactly. There's a point in time where the strike went on for so long, you were working with my dad. So as much as to the credit of the doctors that graduate from there who speak very highly of it, if it's okay, I want to touch base on the flip side of the coin. Is there something wrong with Nairobi University?
There's quite a bit wrong. I would openly say that. Let me take you back a little bit. When you're in high school and you're preparing to join the university, it has a huge name. And frankly speaking, if you compare it with the other universities around, it's still got quite a good name. So that's your number one target, is
The
like I need
caliber of the
to,
university education.
if you're in medical school in University of Nairobi, it's quite something. And a few of the pros would be that, it's affiliated with Kenyatta Hospital, which is the national referral hospital in Kenya. So you get a huge patient count and good exposure. At least that's what it's supposed to be. However, they have a number of challenges. I think we can all point out a few. I'd start with, my first year, you join in, there's this famous hall. It's a teaching hall. It's called Millennium Hall 2. And as you're entering it, you get a whiff, because to the left of that Millennium Hall 2 is the bathroom.
Ooh.
And my God, that was the first time I realized that
Chapo Madondo post lunch. That doesn't check in.
I needed to change my whole biological system, because I could not use those loos in university. You can't. You enter the hall, people who visited there have described in detail their experience on the seat and on the desk.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of the seats are broken. And, that they have tried to, revamp it and those kind of things.
It is a
but
public university, right?
It is a public
funding
university.
comes from the government. So the infrastructure overall is not the best, is what I'm gathering.
It's not.
What about you, Mithil? Do you echo the same sort of sentiments? Do you feel that there was a lack of infrastructure?
Maybe I can compare my experience from what my friends would tell me
Yeah.
to the experience outside.
Yeah.
They would have these beautiful gardens and lawns that they would sit at. And we had Chief and G Gardens where the benches were not somewhere you could sit at. And there's these two stray dogs roaming around. Very cute. We would feed them. But yeah, you get the picture of where we would chill and where, my friends would talk about.
Let me throw this. You don't even sit on those benches. You stand on the bench and sit on the ledge, because that's how it was.
Okay. Infrastructure issues. What that aside, what would you say was the cause of a lot of these strikes and these instances which caused a pause in your educational progress? What was that? Was it?
There's a wide range. We've got technologists, the technologists in the labs, which were necessary in your preclinical years,
Yeah.
going on strike,
Right.
mostly either due to unpaid dues or tough working conditions and those kind of things.
Okay.
you'll have the lecturers go on strike because they've not been paid their dues. Those lecturers are also doctors. So when there's a national doctor strike,
Right.
then everything shuts down.
Okay.
So wide range of reasons. We also had strikes during elections. University had to be shut down for a while. If there was violence the first time round, the second time there was no opportunity for that violence because it was shut down before elections and would be open much after everything is settled. So there were many instances where university had to shut down.
Normally, how long does it take for that stint of yours in Nairobi University? Like, what was the duration? Like, if everything went smoothly?
Yeah. Medical school is 6 years.
6 years. And how long did you end up taking with all the delays and strikes and so on and so forth?
Okay, so I finished in 7 and
Okay, so 1.5 years you guys spent extra. Was it the same for you, Mittal?
Yeah, about 7.5.
Right. And does that mean you pay extra fees? You end up paying more, or it's just time?
It's time. The fee is for the year.
Yeah.
If the year takes you 2 calendar years, that's your problem.
Okay.
The fee is 1.
Okay.
But the value of time lost, it resulted in a lot of things. People would give up halfway.
Right.
People's situations in life changed. So then they weren't able to continue or finish, and so many disadvantages. Yeah.
6 years is just the start.
6 years in itself is a lot as
It's a
compared
lot.
to outside where
Right,
the
it
UK is 5 years. So you're anyway spending a year extra here, but then it's just not that. There's a year of internship, which you're waiting another year, as like you've seen on the news. Interns are waiting to be placed. So it's just more time lost.
I mean, that being said, I know there are a lot of negative connotations around Nairobi University, but I also want to focus on the positive side. I've heard that the caliber of doctors that we have that go through the university is quite stellar. And credit to both of you. I've heard good things as well, Sile. I'm putting butter up so that eventually...
Yeah, you're making his head too big.
Yeah, I'm choosing mix, so then eventually we get a group discount because I have to take care of these guys as well. Yeah,
I'll wait for the result of all of this.
Let's go back to your first year. How was that first year in university? How was that experience like? Was it everything you wanted it to be? Was it, all right, I'm happy I'm being a doctor, or did you see a dead body for the first time and just croak? What was it like, Mittal?
So it was a big change, definitely, from school.
Yeah.
We would be reporting at 7 in the morning, and we're like, okay, fine, sitting in MH doing a couple of lectures. But for me, what was really fascinating was anatomy, because that going into the anatomy lab was like, wow, there's 20 dead bodies, and I've never seen something like that in my life. But you walk in and they preserve the bodies in formalin, and you're just so taken back by it, like people actually faint with the smell.
Yeah, Munab fainted as well.
That's true.
Was it similar to that?
Yeah, I don't think as dramatic, but there are people who left.
To be honest, he's become so numb to a lot of the stuff that he tells me.
Yeah.
There was once we were at a family dinner, and I think you were working at Kenyatta, right?
I was in med school at that time.
Yes,
so
I was like, I want to learn how to ride a bike. I'm going to do this for the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he spent an hour building up his case and giving me examples of why I should not learn to ride a bike. Because apparently in Kenyatta, the accident's based over there. So the audience went from one person to my dad, to my uncle, to everyone surrounding. And we were quiet for 1 hour listening to this guy describing in graphic detail what went wrong. And he was talking about it like it's just another day in the office.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get numb being exposed to that, right?
Yeah.
So tell me now, when they introduce you to the body, do they give you, again, I'm speaking as a noob over here. I have no idea what you guys do.
So we call them cadavers.
Cadavers.
Yeah.
All
this
right.
is specifically meant for the purpose of learning in science.
Okay. And what do you sort of have to do? Do you chop them up? Or
yeah.
Yeah, like.
So it's not a butcher. So,
Okay.
yeah, we start off, feeling like that, but they guide you in terms of dissection, where to start. And actually everyone starts in the glutes because that's the safest area for you to learn how to dissect in layers and see the anatomy of muscles and nerves and all that kind of stuff. And, let me just bring it in from now. It's a big advantage we have here in Kenya because abroad, no longer, being used in undergraduates, cadavers. They're used for, maybe studies by professors and postgraduates and the like. And, the new system really is very abstract. You have a machine, maybe 3D learning, where you're taught, you're taken through how it would be to dissect,
Like
but
VR,
you're not touching.
basically.
Yeah, basically like VR.
That's different, right?
Yeah.
That very
Yeah.
hands-on.
So definitely we had that advantage
Okay.
from the start, and your respect grows because this was a human at some point, somebody alive who lived in Nairobi. A lot of the cadavers we get here are unclaimed bodies, by the way. Maybe I think 2 years was the guidelines I knew last. I don't know if that may have changed, but 2 years in the mortuary, and then they can be put forward for the purpose of science. Whereas abroad, people actually sign and say, I would like to be used to advance science.
Right. So you volunteer as a
yeah.
organ donor or so.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can just how do I say it? Just entertain my questions, but I really want to understand the structure of the 6 years. How does it sort of work? What does the first year involve? Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth?
Yeah. You take that?
Middle, maybe you can take
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So the first 2 years are preclinical years where you go through the basic modules, biochemistry, anatomy, physiology. So just a foundation.
Yeah.
And then third year, fourth year, so third to sixth is now when we move to clinical years, whereby we go to the hospital, so Kenyatta National Hospital, and we see the patients there, do ward rounds and lectures too. So in that way, again, we have the advantage of actually interacting with patients starting from third year. So by the time you're going to sixth year, you have the confidence to deal with patients in real life.
That's actually pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's one of maybe the few countries that gives you that exposure.
Yeah, the system on paper is perfect. To be honest, I wouldn't
Okay.
alter it. I
Okay.
wouldn't alter it. Yeah.
So then after that, then what happens after your clinic? That's clinical trials, right?
So that's your clinical years,
Clinical
and then
years.
you're posted for internship for a year,
Okay.
and then from then on you are
Let's talk
licensed
about
for it.
internship. Do you like when you posted? Is it just random places you get thrown off to?
So it's a system which has actually changed over years. Okay, why are you guys laughing?
Well, like anything in Kenya that has a system, I'm
It's an
sure we can
evolving
tweak,
system.
we can tweak something. But genuinely, how does it work? Like, do you get assigned a hospital and you're told to go there, or do you get first pickings, or if you have a good relationship with someone, they can put it in for you? Does it,
Yeah.
or is it a mix of everything?
It's a mix of everything.
So let me give it as it is. Okay. In the university, if you're a class leader and you've served for the duration, the one benefit you get from all of that, other than being told you're an ass and being abused by your colleagues and being told the admin's puppet and all of that, you get at least to pick. So a list is sent from the council, and you pick. That was then, and then the rest do a ballot. So
Okay.
a hospital is announced. There's 5 slots in that hospital, and 10 people stand up, and you pick. And if you're in, you're in. If you're out, you wait for the next round.
Right.
That changed recently, probably triggered by the fact that there's a lot of people who are really trying to change the centers, and it was giving a huge opportunity for corruption to ensue. So now the council does something that they call spin the wheel, where
It's a lotto ticket.
yeah, but I
Yeah,
don't know. Again, it
basically.
has its pros and cons. You spin the wheel and it shows a place, but that place seems to have already been predetermined against your name. Otherwise, how will the wheel count everybody and
Right.
all the slots? So probably a bit tricky.
So
But
let's
that's how
say
it's good done now.
let's say I know someone at Aga Khan or any other popular hospital in Nairobi,
Yeah,
and I take them for lunch.
yeah.
Can I bypass that system?
It's difficult. It comes to the council, but you mentioned the private facilities. They have their own application.
Oh, they've got their own
system.
system. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So internship, do you do it at private or public? Or is it a mix of both? You can whatever you get.
you can do either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Private is a completely separate entity. They are governed by the council in terms of the expectations you need to do for an intern to have considered completing internship.
Right.
So there's a logbook and there's a guideline.
Okay.
But private have their own interviews, their own system of selection. And yes, recommendations do hold a stronger ground in private.
So
as
if you know
compared to-
people and then it can place. Okay.
yeah,
Fair enough. Like anything in life, sort of it's
yeah,
who
I
you
mean,
know, right?
in the medical field, to recommend someone is tricky because if they screw up, it's your name. So it's not that easy.
Okay.
Somebody would have to really have faith in you.
It's a bit more sensitive again with
Yeah.
the line of work
Yes.
that you do.
Yeah.
Is your internship paid?
Yes. It's supposed to be paid.
Can we talk about how much you get paid?
Let's definitely talk about
Okay,
that.
yeah, let's talk about
please.
the pay. Let's talk about the pay.
Yeah.
Mithil seems a bit hesitant. So if this
Mithil had the good
podcast
life.
expands, I'm going down with you. Right? Right. So okay, doctors in general, and I'll get to the topic of monetary compensation, but then within Nairobi, I don't know if I should say this because I know so many doctors, but there's a stigma associated with doctors at the upper echelon that they're all in it for the money, right? It doesn't matter what hospital you're at. They usually tell you to go to this doctor so that you can get a bit of this commission, then you can go and do this test, and it's not that. And that's why a lot of people stay away from Kenya and go to India for medical purposes, go to South Africa. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the internship. So, Salo.
So, I mean, as at early this year, up till January, as an intern, you would get about 150K.
Seriously? 150?
Yeah.
Is that too high or too low for
That's
you?
quite high.
What?
That is
Yeah,
absolutely
bro.
bonkers.
No. You see what I mean? You see what I mean, doctors?
No.
You know what I got for my first job from graduating? 40,000 bob, which is considered,
Yeah.
again, fairly high.
And how many 36-hour shifts did you pull for that?
How many years did you put into that?
Listen,
How many lives were in your hands, Sajid?
listen, it's not. The IT system of Nairobi was in my hands.
Okay.
Okay, no, at that time we were selling Mchele huko
Yeah.
Babadogo. But 150 is the starting salary.
But you
It
know,
was.
it's not that high. But we'll hear from you.
All right, I'm going to ask the audience to leave comments. Is 150 high or no? In fact, we've got two people over here. What do you guys think for 150 as an intern salary?
I mean, I think they invest a lot.
Yes or no? Is it high? No.
Please, be careful. It's fine.
For me, it's very high. It's fine.
Okay, it's high, right? Kim,
It's high. I did 5 years of engineering. It's quite
you,
high.
your starting salary is 40K as an engineer,
Even less.
even less.
Yeah.
So I'll give you this perspective. All right, there's always two sides of coin. From a monetary value, when you first told me how much, which was like way back, like 5 seconds ago, 150, I will say, compared to most graduates, and fair enough. I understand the time you guys put in. I understand the risks associated with your job. It's you can't compare that to, let's say, a salesman or so on and so forth, right? From my perspective, 150 is a good starting salary.
I think it's ridiculous.
Okay.
I think
Just because you don't have a Rolex yet on your hand.
I have no watch. That's where life has reached.
Okay, so 150, yeah?
Yeah, but let's talk about this, Sajid. Let's talk. What are your responsibilities after a 4-year career as an intern versus what are your responsibilities after 7.5 years of practically running a government facility? Because there's a reason why they don't have to employ that many doctors in those government facilities, because even as a final year student, you're actively participating in the management of patients. And that's the same thing, just at a different level when you go into internship. Automatically, it's bam, you're in charge of the patients in that ward. There is no other doctor. So if you're an intern and you're on call in that particular ward on that night, whatever comes to you, A to Z, is on your head. And the best you can do is call and ask for guidance. But you're the first line of care. That responsibility, if it were to be equated in monetary terms, I still think 150 is not enough. And now they're talking about paying our interns 70,000. And then this is the problem.
Paying you intern 70,000.
Yes.
They're deciding to cut it in half.
It's
Okay,
in court and it's not looking good. The question is, what motivation is left? I'm not in it for the money, but I still need to live. So then fine, I'm joining Saj from tomorrow. I want to join this IT world,
We'll make a lot of money, bro.
make enough money.
We'll make enough money to
I'll not
tell
have
doctors
to-
they earn too much.
I'll not have to, be on caffeine for 24 hours to keep my eyes open to actually manage a patient who is somebody's dad, somebody's brother. I'll not be operating and doing cesarean sections for somebody, who's someone's mom, who's someone's sister, and then leave from there and be told you're paid too much. There's never too much. I need to be paid more. I need to feel valuable.
You're very quiet.
Somebody did internship in a private facility.
Okay,
So-
what was your salary?
The salaries were the same.
Okay, it's the same.
Just that I feel like the reason I chose to go into a private internship was because I wanted a work-life balance. Definitely, I had heard of the whole public experience, and it makes you, I wouldn't say it makes you a better doctor. You both come out amazing doctors.
Yeah.
But for me, I wanted a place where it's more
The support
systematic,
structure, right?
it's more organized.
Yeah.
And when I'm going to work, I know, okay, fine, this is what is expected of me, and I'm going to do this. Our calls may have been fewer than theirs, but we still had 48-hour shifts where we're working for 2 days continuously, expected to be at the hospital.
Okay. I mean, I completely understand that, and I will say, good defense. You've swayed me a little towards your higher salary. I'm comparing, like, it's my ego just taking a hit. But like, how the fuck did Sai earn more than me? But ultimately, I get your perspective, because I do remember over COVID. Remember when we sat at home, like it was 3 in the morning. Yeah,
I moved to the free house
Yeah.
beside you guys so that I could not expose the family.
to COVID.
Even
and,
meeting with you was across a grill.
Yeah,
The
and
sacrifices that are made.
listening to your stories of
Yeah.
how you lost like patients that you couldn't save them, and
Yeah.
for me, just listening to it was quite traumatic. For you, being there as a person, when someone's, and this is in your internship where you've been given the responsibility of someone's life, you can't put a monetary value on it. So I respect to that effect what you guys do, and the fact that the government is thinking about cutting it in half, I think that's bullshit. Let's hope it doesn't go that way. But then, anyway, that's a different podcast to talk about. So,
Yeah.
okay, so after your internship, then what happens within the medical sphere? Like, do you decide that you're going to specialize, or do you have to work? What comes into play?
So once you finish, you can decide to specialize if you've decided. You
Yeah.
can specialize locally or go outside. There's different exams for that. Or you can choose to stay back and work a couple of years till you figure out what you want to do.
Okay, and if we can look back at your experience within university, what would you say is like maybe your fondest memory for the 7 years that you spent there? Sahil, we can start with you.
I think the first time we did a delivery in the labor ward, that was that was an amazing experience.
Was that when you decided I want to do obs guy now?
Actually, I've been really lucky. The first time I decided, I want to do medicine, I was clear with that, no second thoughts. Again, the first time I stepped into a labor ward, it just came to me, this is what I want to do, and I will do it. So I think it is a wonderful experience,
Delivering a baby.
basically life coming into your hands. That cry is amazing. The mother can slap you once or twice, but after that she loves you. It's a wonderful experience.
Mithil, what about yourself? What's a memory that you look on very fondly?
I don't think it's a fond memory, but the way I've been brought up, we're very calm people. So when we
You
were
seem
told-
like you have a very calm personality.
Yeah.
Like, no, you do. I know there's a hidden side of that Meru rage we both carry, but then you do seem like a fairly calm and collected person.
yeah,
Are you
so
the
when-
voice of reason when shit hits the fan?
yeah, don't say that.
I have things to say.
So then what was your fond memory?
Yeah, so for me to come from a place of organization to a place where, okay, there's chaos. I guess you come out with 2 degrees from the University of Nairobi. One is a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery and one of striking. So when we were told, get onto the streets with whistles and the vuvuzelas, I was
Were you
like,
on the road?
what? I was forced to go on the road. But then once you're there, you're like, okay, fine.
Mithil, how dare you? You're the one who
I know,
disrupted
my dad's
traffic
gonna
on
be
the
like,
highway.
"Why do
I got late to work that day. All because of you doctors who earned too much during your internship.
It was a peaceful
I'm sorry, I'm just
protest.
Okay. So specializing in, you're going to head towards obs-gyn, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
Yes.
What about you, Mithil? What are you looking at doing?
Yeah, I mean, Sahil's really pushing me towards obs-gyn, but I haven't yet decided. I'm just
And there's no
taking it
rush to
slow.
decide, right? It's not like there's a timeline. And do you specialize immediately? Do you work? How does that sort of come into play? Does it recommend that you get a few years under your belt?
I'd say the tides are changing.
Okay.
In the past, it was recommended you'd work a couple of years,
Hmm.
kind of make a mature decision than what you want to go in.
Right.
But we're many graduates now, every year being churned out, and there's not enough work on the ground.
Hmm.
We have a lot of unemployed doctors as well. you know.
Really?
So many. And most of us who would like to stay within Nairobi because that's where the better facilities are, and we will discuss that. We are having to move to masters a bit quicker.
Okay, so you're forced to pursue studies in the hopes that it improves the caliber of your CV so you can get a job.
Yeah, better job.
How many
a job
doctors
would
do you
be
think they graduate every year?
So the University of
Thousands,
Nairobi
possibly?
alone,
Undergraduate.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
About
University of Nairobi around
with
300, right?
300, yeah.
And then if I said there are 12 universities, if you average that, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
but Sajid, that's much less. You know, in like UK, there's 46 medical schools in the United Kingdom, if you include Scotland and everyone. So they graduate 9 to 10,000 doctors a year,
Okay.
and they're all absorbed.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just the fact that we don't have the capacity anymore as a country to absorb enough doctors in the places where there's facilities.
Okay.
So the tide has changed now. We move to masters. So you have to make a decision quicker. Yeah.
Fair enough. If we look at it retrospectively, would you change? Maybe not. Would you? Maybe the correct question would be, if you had the opportunity to study elsewhere, the same degree, would you go to another country?
For me, it's a yes. For sure.
This guy doesn't sugarcoat. Mithal, you're going to sugarcoat it, I know. What would you do? Okay, so let's start with Mithal.
Yeah, looking back, if I had the opportunity and the circumstances were different, I would look at going perhaps to the UK just because
Okay.
of the quality of the education there.
It's
And,
much.
yeah, and the value that your degree holds once you graduate
Yes,
there.
yes.
And yeah.
I already know your answer. We don't even need to
Listen.
ask you.
You go for a ward round and you're 40 students. The third years are the junior ones, so they're kept at the back. In fact, some of them don't even know what was being discussed. You know, forget the patient, the topic. Yeah, it can't work anymore. But when you go outside, it's controlled. It's a bit limited. It's much more expensive.
Yeah.
The exposure is a bit less clinically. As I told you, you know, we had all the cases in the world because, you know, patients also
That's what I'm
don't
saying.
have
Yeah. So
care.
it's like the exposure you get to, let's say, the stuff you're describing to me during your internship. Let's take about border riders.
Yeah, and
You
those
wouldn't
injuries.
get that in UK, would you?
Highly
Very
unlikely.
very rarely.
Highly unlikely.
So-
Fewer
They have
numbers.
systems
I
in
guess
place.
it's a balance. If you don't mind me asking, what, like, if you're to study in the UK, what would the typical fees be per year for just an average medical university? Are we talking tens of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of pounds, you're looking at maybe £6,000 to £8,000 a year. It's quite expensive.
I think that's
no,
quite. I think that's
I
quite
think
low.
that's a downplay because $9,000 is for the
Your
local
accommodation.
students. Yeah.
Yeah, this is tuition
Yeah.
fees. You see, there's accommodation. There's a lot. There's a lot to
From
look
what
at.
because I was looking to go there, it's
Yeah.
about 36,000
Pounds a year.
Pounds.
Yeah.
36,000.
It
Do you
is.
know? Can we remove a 36? How much? 36,000 pounds.
Convert it.
Timokona calculator.
Listen, a
36,000
pound is like
pounds.
160 right now.
That's
Yeah,
calculated.
calculated.
So £1,000 is like, you know, 160k. So 10,000 pounds.
What is
would be
pound right
16
now?
now.
It's
167, 170.
But this is for
somewhere
the whole degree. Yeah,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
fair.
6 million.
Oh, this
per
for the
year.
whole degree or for
Yeah,
year
for
one?
the whole degree.
No,
Six-
now you're underplaying it. 36,000 pounds
I think it's per year, metal.
per year would come to 6-7 M. That would be a more
Because
realistic
university
word.
degrees. So let's say I went to the shit box of UK, which is Cardiff, which is considered much cheaper,
Yeah.
and I got a scholarship. I paid maybe 10, 12 all in per year, and that's considered on the lower end. If you go more now towards the central sides, you're looking at 20, 30, 40,000. It's ridiculous. So, and medical, I would assume that's a lot more. On the flip side, how much are you guys paying Nairobi University per year?
$500,000 for the parallel.
And you want
students.
more than 150 a month.
Oh wow, we're
Because-
going back to that.
Nimekushika.
No,
That's what I was going.
So riddle me this,
Admit
Sajid.
defeat. 500,000 bob.
You called
and
a
then
university a
six-
shitbox, yeah?
6 million bob.
Did you have a cafeteria?
USIU eventually got one.
Were there rats walking across your cafeteria?
Oh, there were snitches and snakes.
I'm not talking about human rats. Yeah. You know, you had facilities. How much were you able to socialize?
No, but props to Dr. Frida Brown at USIU. She placed like 50 cats
Yeah.
all over the campus.
Sorted
we
out the
never had
problem.
a rat problem.
Yeah, we had
We're being
stray
proactive.
cats.
We're being proactive about this. Doctors should be as well.
Yeah, if we had a chance to, right? Like, we didn't have the amenities that people have in other facilities.
I'm pulling your
Yeah.
legs.
You should see our
what I think
library,
of,
Sajid.
you know what I think of doctors until you need one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
We'll wait for you.
So, okay. Now, looking at as I was mentioning earlier, and we can segue back into it, the medical facilities in Kenya, overall on global standard, public, private, what would you rate ours? Like out of 10? Are we 7? Are we 8? Are we at 9? Are we at 10? Are we below that?
It's a
Mitchell,
difficult
just
one.
say
Mitchell,
what
go
you're
for it.
thinking. No one watches this podcast. No one. We get like 100 views.
You're gonna attack. They're gonna
No.
remove me from
Look,
my
he
job.
watches 20 laptops. He watches from another 30 devices. So these are all the views we get. No one's going to judge you. Just be open. Yeah.
I mean, private. I do really like the place I work at. Go in, Peter. Please promote me.
And Pisha, you here. You've got 2 doctors supporting you. Right. So do we get the discount voucher codes as well? Yeah?
We can talk.
We can talk. Okay. On a serious note, and I ask this from a perspective of, let's say, every time I engage with someone who's got a chronic disease or something very serious, they will go to a consultant or a doctor here, but then even the doctor here might recommend them to go to South Africa from a cost perspective, or India, again from cost perspective, but also from a point of just the caliber of services you get.
Yeah, let me put it this way. It is no secret that a private facility has to also meet its targets in terms of earning.
Yeah.
And for you to meet those targets, then your costs have to be minimal. Therefore, we do have a lot of skill, but we may not have the facilities because it's too big an investment for people to make. If you need, for example, we're doing a lot of renal transplants now in
You're doing?
Kenya. Renal transplants, kidney transplants,
Okay.
which before wasn't that aggressive as it is now. But to invest to make that possible, and looking at the returns for the private facilities, it's a balance to strike. So that's why I'd say we are behind. A lot of these other facilities in the world where the government and private investors are giving in quite a bit just for the facility to run without really looking at the returns. So yeah, we are behind in terms of what's available out there for sure. But if you compare in Africa, maybe we're behind South Africa, but we're far ahead of other East African
Oh, for sure. I
compatriots.
think in East Africa, we're definitely
Yeah,
the de facto player when it comes to the medical field.
yeah,
And I suppose to your point, the reason it's so expensive is because we're limited number of hospitals, limited number of investment, a lot of demand. So naturally, demand and supply comes into play.
absolutely.
I'm going to play a game here,
Yeah.
right? Top 3 hospitals in Kenya. Number 1, what would you rate?
And Pisha,
No, not This is clear. Okay, let me ask some unbiased people. All right. Kim,
Yeah, give us your opinion.
Vish,
Maybe a card.
Aga Khan would be number 1, according to you, yeah? Not because of the Java shop over there. Because Java's also in MP Shah recently, and they make a
they
very
have
good
the
cafe.
full Java. They don't
They
have
have a full
like
Java.
the
They don't have a
turbo.
limited Java.
Yeah.
They've got- yeah, exactly. So we're basing it on the amenities, not the quality of the doctors. So
Yeah.
Aga Khan number 1. Which one else? Number 2?
Yes.
But do you think we visit hospitals?
Like just casually. This is my time pass.
You were supposed to do research for this podcast. All right. Leave these guys alone. They put no. Okay. Generally speaking, let's say. Okay, I know you. It's very hard for you to talk against MP Shah because you're employed. So let's put MP Shah number 1. But let's remove MP Shah out of that equation. What would be the top 3 hospitals?
See, even if you put MP Shah there,
No, let's remove MP Shah.
Aga Khan,
Yeah.
Aga Khan are, quite a vast facility. They have a lot they're doing. They're a postgraduate facility and they started undergraduate.
Bro, I will say this, Aga Khan.
Yeah.
The food, oh my God. Like,
It's good.
I've gone to visit.
Again, forget about the doctors.
Yeah, forget about the doctors. I've gone to visit patients at dinner time because I know the food is really good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you know who I'm talking about. I'm sorry for eating your dinner. We had to call in separate. But okay,
Yeah.
from a food perspective, I'm joking. Okay, sorry to
They
interrupt.
have fantastic
Yeah.
facilities and doctors, and they have a good, hospital. So Aga Khan's there. Then Nairobi Hospital and Pisha
Right, okay.
still doing very well as regards, private hospital service provision.
Yeah.
I'd say Karen is also in and around there, probably slightly lower. The rest I'd prefer not to talk about.
Mithil, do you agree with those sentiments?
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're looking for
Yeah.
at a hospital, and also depends on how much you are able to afford. So
Okay. Recently, I was having a conversation with a chap whose family member had cancer, and I was informed that from an East and Central Africa perspective, the rise in cancer cases in Kenya is tenfold compared to the neighboring countries. Is that a case? Is that true? Is it because of what we eat? Is it because of the water? Like, have you heard these rumors? Have you, from your exposure and your experience, is that the case?
We're diagnosing more, and I think it's because we're able to diagnose
So maybe
more.
that's why it's tenfold, because we don't have the facilities there.
We,
It's not like the government has polluted our water and we're drinking stuff.
No, I don't think so. They may have polluted our minds, but certainly not the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think we have screening, which is something, it's important to mention. People are screening themselves for cancers much better.
right.
We have people understanding that they need to check themselves. So when you screen more, you'll diagnose more. That's for
Okay.
sure.
So you guys are doctors. Duh. We've reiterated that several
we've
times.
established that.
We've established that. Very well paid doctors.
We're researchers too. Let's throw that there.
Like normally for us as the mass population, medical aspect and medical checkups usually come as a last resort, right? It's just like, yeah, if something happens, then we'll go and check. Would you guys recommend certain tests for everyone to take maybe once a year, twice a year? Is there something you just to keep on top of everything?
So I think as you approach different genders and different ages, there's different screening ages for different diseases.
Yeah.
For example, if you take the male population, we recommend colorectal screening, prostate screening.
Sorry, what was the first one? What was the first one?
So colon cancer, right?
Okay. What is involved in that
The
test?
large intestine.
Are you putting a finger somewhere?
No.
No, that's for the
Okay.
prostate.
Okay.
It's a very non-invasive test where you take a stool sample for males aged above 40 years. And if that stool sample picks up blood, then we recommend colonoscopy.
Okay.
And recently we had colon awareness month.
Okay.
So we start from there, pick up the cancers early, get treated for it early.
Okay.
Less resources.
And
are
how
used.
often do you recommend doing these tests?
Um,
Annually?
So if your occult blood, which is the blood that you're seeing, is negative, then you're okay for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, there's also an age to it. If you don't have a strong family history, then maybe above the
You
age
know
of
my
40.
family history, so speak from a perspective of right. I grew up with this guy
Yeah.
as a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
We
33,
believe you.
33. Right,
Yeah.
30. Don't pressure me. All right.
Yeah.
What test would you recommend I take?
For you, and for anyone right now in this age bracket, we'd look at more things like screening for hypertension, diabetes, the non-communicable diseases, the lifestyle diseases. That's what we want to look at because that's being seen much earlier.
Okay.
We're a bit far from the cancer age, but around the age of 40, you want
It's
to start.
recommended you do
You want
that.
to start screening.
Just so you're on top of things, checking your blood, your cholesterol, your diabetic,
that
basic
should be
function.
done annually.
Does
at the
Mpisha do
minimum.
that at a very cheap, effective cost?
We're not going to advertise for them. But they have wellness packages, and so do any other private facility you go to.
Okay.
And they do the
Okay.
baselines. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. To round this segment off, I just wanted to ask you, best medical facilities globally. One country, what would you pick?
If you can afford it, a lot of the tier 1 facilities in the US are next level.
US.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tier 1 means the major cities.
So the US, you would say, according to you, has basically the upper echelon of medical facilities in the world.
Yeah, if you can afford it.
It's very expensive.
It is extremely expensive.
Mithil, what about you?
Yeah, I think the UK and South Africa also.
Not Mpisha. Eh?
Okay, they don't pay me that much.
So South Africa, I heard you mention South Africa. They're really good.
So what I've heard
Yeah.
so far is for orthopedics, which we were just discussing, is pretty good there. The UK as well, I think just because of the technology that they
Okay.
have, certain things we can't manage here just because we don't have the facility.
Right.
We have to send our patients.
Okay,
elsewhere.
fair enough. Maybe, again, to round it off, one more question. Would there be any changes you'd want to see to private and public facilities locally? Like any improvements that you could point out that would really help change the landscape of the medical sphere?
I mean, off the top of my head, maybe we need to consider private investors in public facilities.
Yes.
A lot of them run on donor funding, USAID, major funders. But if you had a private investment and with a workout on what kind of returns they're expecting, the numbers they serve are massive, massive compared to private facilities. So if that can be changed, if something can be worked, but best of luck working with our 70,000 shilling a month paying government. But if we can,
Okay.
that would be a good
Do
change.
you think a business idea, for example, you go to these remote communities and you set up sort of mini hospitals with basic amenities in place, basic GP testing, machines, medical technologies, which are now from China, which are significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good business idea?
It's not going to give you returns, man. You've got to look at the capability and the capacity of the people you're serving. And that's
Which is,
where
again,
it all comes in.
Yeah, they earn less than 50 to 100 bob to spend. So that, I guess that stretches out,
They are
right?
below the poverty line.
Yeah.
If you use the US guidelines, less than $100
Okay.
a day. So it really will not give you the returns monetary wise, but you'll be that good chap, Coffee Pump podcast.
If you two want to open up a coffee pump clinic and lead it, I will financially back
sponsor
you.
us.
Yes, of course.
That's an idea. That's
I
for
will
sure.
put my name on the CR12 next to yours. No worries, right? We're
That's
ready to do
fine.
that.
That's fine.
So handshake. If I see you guys,
We have to think about it.
always very cautious.
Always
You've already
ready to-
committed, right?
Community
I take
work
all my
I will
money.
do. For sure.
I want to now segue to a segment which my mom is going to kill me for. I want to start with the number one most popular myth amongst aunties in third Parklands, actually from the vicinity of first Parklands to sixth Parklands. Haldhi, turmeric cures everything, even cancer.
I've got to take that because I am the auntie.
That's the
Do you
thing.
have turmeric haldi pani every morning?
Like if my siblings are gonna get hurt, put turmeric. So I mean, I'm for it, guys.
Okay, before you shit on that, I will tell you this. If you remember, I used to have asthma growing up, and I don't know who recommended it. It was probably Nanima, Mama, someone. They're like, just give him honey and haldi, turmeric every morning. I swear, 3 months that thing went, bro. 3 months, it disappeared. I don't have
They
asthma
gave you
anymore.
brandy, it would have also gone in the same 3 months.
Being Muslims, and I couldn't pray for 120 days or something. But why do you doubt that?
See, the thing is, I don't dispute that it has some inflammatory properties that are good, for wounds. If you want to stop bleeding, you want to put that there, and it will automatically help reduce swelling and those things. The problem I have with that is the aunties will shit on the medicine we give them. Don't drink Augmentin.
Tame haldi joeche?
Yeah, Haldhi Pivanu Majani life.
Majani life.
I don't know what to say, but yeah, I don't like the fact that it replaces what is actually necessary for you.
Right.
And actually brings forth complications going forward.
It's what you call like a placebo, right?
It does have some benefits.
No, I think it does have benefits. Which
Clearly, because you believe so much in it, it does, right? I think maybe that's the important factor to
She
know.
wants to open an Ayurvedic clinic now.
I think it should go hand in hand with medicine.
Ayurvedic clinic, what is that? That's like a shampoo.
Actually,
like Vatican shampoo. What is that?
I don't know who I'm dealing with.
What is that?
No, but Ayurveda is a branch of science on its own.
Really? I thought it was a shampoo or something.
There are actually people who study herbal drugs
herbal medication.
and things like that.
Did you? Right. Sorry, we thought it was a shampoo. I swear to God, there's a shampoo in Chaturana called that.
Ayurveda or something.
Back. Okay. So
That's what I think of it anyway. Because
I mean, those do have benefits as well,
They do.
to some extent. All right, the next medical myth. And by the way, we found these online. You guys can double check. We didn't find it online. We just came up with them. First aid for burns can be cured by toothpaste.
Yeah, listen, I don't know where that came from, but my mom does it as well.
In scouting as well.
Yeah. You know, all you need to do if you get a burn is open running water and stick whatever is burnt under that till you reach a hospital.
I'm going to ask
Why
you now.
put Aquafresh, and is Aquafresh better than Colgate? Like, please explain
Yeah,
to
I
me.
think Colgate has the ability to cure cancer as well.
Okay, now that's taking it too far.
Just rub it.
Rub it on the wound.
So that's not true. It doesn't help with medical burns.
Yeah. We should not. You should put running water. If you have any form of a burn, usually running water is your main solution.
Okay.
Open a tap, open it at maximum, and run water under that for at least 5 minutes before you cover it and rush to the
Okay.
nearest facility.
So that would you recommend immediately you get burnt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this one has to be true. You get pneumonia if you're rained on.
Yeah.
From a young age, from all the way from wee baby nursery school all the way to right now, you're told whenever it rains you need to cover up, otherwise your chest will get cold and you can get pneumonia.
Mittal believes it.
Mittal, do you believe
believes
it?
we'll get pneumonia from that.
This one I don't believe. I think viral okay, so what causes pneumonia? Bacteria, viruses. And I think that's more prevalent in
Okay.
colder water.
Not cold weather and
But
cold
no,
water.
it's not the raindrops that are going to make you get pneumonia.
You see, viruses are more likely to spread in a colder environment because you'll be closer together.
Right,
Yeah?
right.
It's not about that they thrive,
Hmm.
in very cold weathers or very hot weathers.
So it's a
Actually,
viral-based infection.
Yeah, and allergies are triggered with cold, but pneumonia,
Okay.
that is a rumor.
Okay. This other one, okay, I don't believe this because the amount of carrots I've fucking eaten. Eating carrots negates the need for glasses. Clearly, it doesn't work, right? Why is that so popular? They feed babies carrots, they won't need glasses. Kid turns out blind. Mummy G, it didn't work. You force-fed me those carrots.
Yeah, maybe Mittal wants to.
Yeah, what's the logic behind that, Mitz?
So carrots have keratin, which are the substances used to build vitamin A, and vitamin A is what the cells in your eyes need.
Well, it's bullshit because I have astigmatism.
Vitamin A deficiency can cause night blindness. So some bright person decided that we're going to tell you, eat carrots your whole life, drink carrot juice if you can't eat the carrot. Our grandma does that, but we'll still wear glasses. So
We'll have to edit that part out.
But there's other sources of vitamin A. It's not just carrots, right?
Okay, what are the good sources of vitamin A?
any of the vegetables will have components of vitamin A. Carrot just has a higher concentration.
Supplementation versus actual food. What do you guys prefer?
Whole foods, always.
Supplements.
Really?
What?
I mean, we can condense it into one tablet rather than having like 1,000
when
carrots.
you have a country where you're growing fresh fruits and vegetables, why are we going to
By the way, farming tactics over here is all profiteering. So what they put in the crops, I would not sort of
The
back
good
that
ones
up.
go out.
Yeah, I would prefer supplementation that comes from India.
I mean, it's no. No, that's the problem. But the calculated amount, of nutrients in a tablet is better.
Okay.
Only if you have a deficiency. I mean, for pregnant women, you have all the folic acid, you have the iron supplements, which I'm so for because
Right.
that does help. But as a regular person, if you can just eat normally, I don't know why you're going to look for tablets.
Fair enough. This other one, okay. Mental illness does not exist. I've seen that. I've seen people say it's jinn, this guy's been possessed, go pray dua on him, or he's just throwing a tantrum.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really shut upon in our societies, guided by both culture and religion. But here's a fact for you: mental health exists. It needs to be treated. It needs to be handled just the way. If you sneeze, your mom jumps all over you. If you're depressed, your mom should also be checking on you. Your colleague should be
Absolutely,
checking on
yeah.
you. Fully and wholly exists. And it just like, the way everybody knows hypertension is a silent killer, but no one seems to accept that mental health is one.
So, do you... okay, maybe a two-part question. Is it something to do with the chemical components of the brain's makeup that affects the way one person basically acts and feels? Or is it sort of like maybe a combination of that and traumatic events over someone's life? And then secondly, do we underplay the importance of mental health in Kenya?
I can answer the first one.
Yeah.
I think you've put it in a fantastic way, by the way. Someone's been researching.
Thank you. We're not just
Yeah.
some shitty podcast on YouTube.
Coffee Pump is
We do
serious.
research the day before, yeah? Yeah.
Or the morning of.
Oh, the morning, 1 hour before.
It's a perfect interplay
Okay.
between your environmental factors
Yeah.
and the chemical balance in the brain.
Okay.
And that's why some people may be more predisposed than others, given the environment you're in. As somebody working in a war-torn environment is highly likely to get a mental health illness compared to somebody,
PTSD, right?
PTSD leading to depression or anxiety or panic disorders. It has so many branches to it. Yeah.
Mitchell, what do you think?
I completely agree. I think it's always nature and nurture playing both its parts. There's also a genetic component to things like
Really?
depression. It does run in some families more than the rest. That doesn't mean just because, your grandfather is depressed, you're going to get depressed. It's a life experience, which does play into that.
So I keep saying so. Sorry. Can you put a so counter as well? Moreover,
Big words.
Yeah. However, furthermore, in accordance with, playing into
Show off.
that role. Okay, was not
You can
included.
give IELTS
Yeah,
to
should we give our big words?
Yeah, please give your big words. But to the same, maybe to add on to what you guys were saying, yes, it is there. It's very prevalent in some folks, and you can clearly see it affect them. But I think depression is also in this new generation. It's become an excuse. Like, I'll give you as an example. What happens is someone doesn't want to work. He's maybe tired with the job he's doing. They're not motivated. They'll chalk it up. I'm depressed. I'm depressed with life, right? Generally, things are meant to be hard. It's never meant to be easy. But this coming generation is so soft that everything is like, no, I'm just mentally distressed. I'm going under depression. I think people also play to a huge extent when in reality, it's not there. It's just you're having a tough day. Why are you depressed? I mean, do you think, again, from a medical standpoint, have you ever met someone who you're like, dude, just hit the gym?
See, there's a formal way of diagnosing it. So you can't just come in and tell me you have a low mood and I'll diagnose you with depression.
Yeah.
We have checklists.
What are the checklists? Let's talk about. Can we talk about that?
We have a depression score
Really?
that you can use, and it's divided into subsections. If you
Mood.
want to put this over there's something called the Diagnostic Statistics Manual 5,
Yeah.
DSM-5. That's what we are using now. And it looks at a number of things, loss of interest in pleasurable activities, loss of productivity, inability to sleep at night, feeling very tired or lazy during the day.
Oversleeping as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you've not had good quality sleep. Withdrawing from social, if Sajid stops doing his podcasts and is on 20-something episodes already, blazing the trail, there's a problem. We've got to think what's happening.
Right.
So there's a checklist, and people do get demotivated and have low moods, and there's things to do. Hitting the gym is one solution.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you've taken up the gym, and by the way,
Yeah.
can we also clap for Sile on how much weight he's lost?
Yeah.
Hey, whoa, hey. He was maybe 30 kilos bigger than this. Yeah, he gave me that weight, which I hate about that.
Yeah,
Like,
which I learned about gymming and somebody about calories. I had to research about calories because I thought Sajid will fire me on them today, because I could get bored about his food calculation.
Oh, by
and
the way, like
everything.
family events, bless his mom, she'll make grilled chicken for me and vegetables. And I'm like, Auntie, that was like a year ago. I call her Fuima. Now it's biryani and all, but we're changing slowly. We're trying to look like Vish with a six-pack here.
Yeah.
Vish, show the camera your six-pack. All right, so our next episode. Okay. But I guess, to your point, it's there. And maybe some people overplay it. Maybe some people underplay it and they need to be treated. Do you think as a society, as a whole, we underplay it in Kenya? Mental health?
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
How many cases of suicide have you heard of in the last few years, and compare it with the 5 years
Oh,
before
yeah.
that?
I mean, this year I've heard like 2-3 cases. It's a bit messed up, yeah?
Yeah. We're not doing well. But there are people, I've heard the radio shows do a few talks on it.
Okay.
Yeah, the
so
conversations
people
are definitely coming
people
up.
are talking.
Yeah.
So I guess just making people more aware, having
Yeah.
mental health awareness days
Yeah.
and sort of
If you can
just,
pop a message, it would be like, please talk.
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what maybe even our fathers, don't do,
They
right?
don't, no.
They're very they're
Manly.
men's men. Yeah,
Yeah.
manly
Yeah.
men. No, it's not an issue. They don't communicate their feelings. They don't
Mhm.
openly talk. It's taken them a bit of a while to sort of, I guess, like the relationship with their fathers is very different from their relationship with us
Yeah.
versus what it'll be like with our children, right? So I guess it's, to summarize it, it's good to be open.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Now, I don't want to laugh because we just came off a very serious topic, but this medical myth, pregnant women can't swim. I don't know who.
Yeah, I don't know who. I didn't even know about that.
Is it because of the
until today.
buoyancy? They like.
Apparently, people think you might drown the baby. I don't know, but
Does a baby
I
drown?
can tell you.
The water's not entering the womb.
I mean, I can tell you it's a strong belief in, some of the Indian coastal communities and the Arabs. They think it's wrong. First of all, they think it's wrong for women to swim. Let's start from there.
I think they
Yeah.
believe in jinns by the oceans, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of that belief.
Sahar believes in that too. Don't pretend. He wouldn't put his water in the feet at night.
If someone,
yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
we
I've
go
heard
for
that.
dinner to Yule's, 12 at night, she wants me to step in the sea. Who does that?
Yeah, they believe in sharks.
Yeah,
Sharks!
crabs.
That is the least of
That's
our
not a medical
worries.
myth. Those fuckers have jaws this big.
Yeah.
They'll bust any myth that
Yeah.
you see. So to be fair,
Yeah, I think,
To be fair.
they have justified, but there's nothing like, water will seep into the womb and all
I mean,
of that.
you see the thing is when you're swimming,
Yeah.
the first thing that plays in your mind is Turner, Turner,
The jaws
Turner, and then it comes. Okay, pregnant women can swim.
Yeah,
They should.
absolutely.
We do
And
underwater
by
deliveries.
proving this on the next Coffee Pump episode,
Yeah.
we'll feature a race of pregnant women in a 100 meters dash,
Oh, we'll be there for
sponsored
that.
by Empty Shell.
Tough
right?
luck.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we getting a sponsorship side?
we can only hope.
Can I get your words right? Right. Okay, this other one is, I've heard it as well. Cracking your joints gives you arthritis.
Let's give Mithal this one because she used to tell people not to.
arthritis there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so what it is about cracking your knuckles is we've got nitric oxide molecules. Maybe Sahil can explain this. He's really good at biochemistry.
Yes.
We have nitrogen bubbles in
So-
the joints.
Okay.
When you crack them, when you crack the joints, it's those bubbles being released from the joints. They
Right.
make that sound.
Doesn't cause
It
arthritis.
doesn't cause arthritis, but if
Unlike
you're going to
what
keep
Nicole
doing it,
thinks.
no,
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
She
then
thinks
you
your
are going
fingers.
to
She
have
said
pain.
that she thinks your fingers will become fat.
I mean, let me see your fingers.
Mine are fat, but
Because you crack your knuckles.
it has nothing to do with cracking your knuckles. There's no relation.
Yeah, but if you're going to do it enough, you are going to cause pain. So, I mean, why are you doing it?
It's fun sometimes,
It makes you feel like you're serious. You're thinking.
Like I have a friend. Every time he meets anyone, he cracks their fingers. I don't know. That's a different.
That's a myth we need
Yeah,
to
but
debunk.
it's a myth. It's a myth.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one I want to talk about is, and Mom has told me this quite a lot, that painkillers are dangerous. They can damage you if you have them too much.
Yeah.
Is that a myth?
I think it depends on what you're taking the painkillers for.
Like the Panadol, the Maramojas, the Kichwangumus, or maybe that's not a medicine. But you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
does it do something to your liver?
To your kidneys.
Sorry, your
We
kidneys.
call these some of these, like the Maramoja, they have a component of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs. And, uncontrolled use of those is not good for your kidneys.
Okay, so it's not really a myth.
It's not really a myth.
Yeah.
But there's one thing, we can look at this myth two ways. There are people who want to live in pain feeling like, I'm not going to take a painkiller.
Actually, interpreting this, I think what it meant to say is,
Yeah. I'm hardcore.
yes,
Yeah.
men should just absorb the pain and not take
Yeah.
painkillers.
You're having chest pain. You don't want to take anything.
Yeah,
You
car
want to
just
sit
hit
and
me,
yeah.
walk it off, bro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
fractured 2 ribs, but
Exactly.
I'm good.
What
Yeah.
is that? Yeah, 20
Yeah,
kazibana.
that's
Yes.
bullshit. Please
Yes.
take paracetamol. It's safe
yeah.
to a certain extent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sour. And maybe on that point, I've heard that a lot of medication in Kenya is fake. Is that true? Like a lot of bootleg mal. We're getting a lot of Maramojas that are not really Maramojas. We're getting a lot of Panadols that are not really
Where do you
Panadol.
buy your Panadols from?
Bro,
man?
I've heard this. Like, you have to be very careful. I mean, think about it as a possibility, right? People sell you expired Pampers.
Yeah. No
It's not the
names.
same.
so it's not. But the thing is, the human spirit is in such a way that we ultimately look at profiteering from anything, right? So why wouldn't we get some off-brand, off-the-shelf, pre-packaged as something and then sell it? There is a possibility of that. And globally, it's also phenomenal. If you go Thailand, the amount of fake products coming out of there into our shelves, is there sort of a process by which you guys vet the medicine you recommend?
There's actually an entire act in our constitution. I think it's 244 or 44. Pharmacists will correct me on that one. There are none here because we don't consider them doctors, but it's fine.
Hey, pharmacists are doctors. Shots fired. Our pharmacists, doctors. No. Okay.
Yeah, but there's actually a very strict criteria for licensing production of drugs locally versus importing.
Okay.
And I highly doubt that we have that kind of a problem here. I would say most of the stuff that we
It's
have
heavily
is
vetted and audited.
legitimately,
Okay.
There have been cases though of, the ones, and those come from outside. So
Right.
still have to keep a lookout.
Okay. This one, you only use 10% of your brain. Is that true? I'm using 11%.
I mean, you use 100% of your brain. The misconception
can't be
is
possible. In the Matrix, they said if you use more than 10%, you can slow stuff down. Everything goes in slow motion.
It's gonna get
Bullets, this and that. So we can't be.
you,
This is maybe 5%, 5%, 5%, 15% total.
yeah, maybe to think, but your brain is also responsible for you to breathe.
And other functions.
And other functions. So you use everything, every bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. What are the... This is a good one. Vaping is safer than smoking.
You want to take that
Yeah.
one?
I mean, I think both are equally bad. They both contain nicotine, which is the harmful substance. And so whether it's cigarette smoking or vaping, it's going to have it and it's going to damage.
Have you ever seen any cases of people who do quite a lot of shisha and vaping? Maybe cigarettes, we know cigarettes for what they are. Shisha, the thing is, like, you'll have everyone now in their car, at home, while they're playing, while they're doing this. Cigarettes, you could smoke a pack a day, but then vaping, how do you control that? And is there anything to do with chest congestion over time? Because you just keep inhaling and inhaling and inhaling. Does it affect you worse than cigarettes? Have you seen medical cases in your field of people who've smoked too much double apple? By the way, if you smoke double apple, like,
I wish I could comment, but no. It definitely predisposes you to the same chest illnesses that you would get from cigarettes. But there were some cases of something we call Valley, vape-associated lung injury. That was new. And it was happening in very young people.
Okay.
So you've got to be careful with the amount of vaping.
Okay. The last one as we wind down. IBS or IBD for anyone with diarrhea. Before you answer that, what the hell is IBS and what the hell is IBD? Because I saw this online and as a popular medical myth. So if you could please answer that question in two parts.
So IBS, inflammatory bowel syndrome, and IBD, inflammatory bowel disease. So IBD has two components. There's Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. Have I got it right?
You've got it right. You've got
whatever you're
everyone
saying
else
is just flying over. All right.
It's the problem of doctors.
Both of them are GI, so gastrointestinal issues. Again, to know how to make it simpler. Maybe you should hang out with us more.
I should, yeah? At MP Shah. Okay. We'll have lunch. But okay, so why do people assume that...
You see, these are very tough conditions that usually are characterized by very loose and very bloody stools. You could literally not sit for this hour that we've enjoyably had without having to rush to the loo. And it's very, debilitating. It's
what you're saying, it's not diarrhea. It cannot be.
It's not just diarrhea.
You could check it to be something else.
Yeah, but the converse is not everybody who's just having some episodes of diarrhea regularly has this, because they are very thorough illnesses and you shouldn't just downplay it as I have IBS. Those patients need a lot of steroids and stuff like that.
Okay. I think overall we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've talked about the medical industry as a whole. We've obviously disappointed a lot of aunties in 6th Parklands. But I just want to thank you guys for taking the time. It's been awesome having you both. You both owe me special discounts on me and my team at MP Shah. And by the way, aside from Java, is there any other restaurant?
Yeah.
Why? We're
There's,
not
no, by
promoting-
the way, there's like a Bhagwanji in the corner, right? In MP Shah. The way they make really
is
nice
it even
desi
called?
pizzas.
There is an Indian restaurant, yes.
Yeah.
That's the one. Bro, the pizzas over there are so good.
Yeah,
Alright,
so is the price, but it's fine.
Coffee
Yeah.
Pump will have it. But
Yeah,
Go-
we want Coffee Pump stickers, and we are very thankful for being here. We love the work. you and
no,
your team
this
are
is. I
doing.
think this is fascinating. I'd love to have you guys back on for another podcast.
Same.
Sahil, we can have another one with Mittal where we talk exclusively about Maiman stories.
Yeah, that
That's-
will be fun.
That's a dedicated
sure.
episode.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you guys so much. All right. This has been Coffee Pump, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.